has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
It's Ferrall on the bench, coast to coast in the biggest way possible, hanging out the bad, see the broken, the bad apple with a bad attitude. We are live in New York City, the Big Apple. Ooh. People dressed in plastic bags, direct traffic, some kind of pattern shake-it-up, along with the Tutty King and the Tater King and the golf guru himself. Carver High this afternoon, ladies, on election day, no less. Mafia's running it with Luke. I am your father. The rundown, a double shot with Morency from Vancouver. Look at your boy, Mike DeCourcy back from the Sporting News. And how about Rich Phillips styling down as the voice of the SMU Mustangs in Dallas? And Stewie, Keith Stewart with Carver High. Read the line. The golf aficionado with betting with Carver High, getting ready for another tourney this week. We got it all going. But the deadline is upon us. I've never really understood deadlines for anything, to be honest with you, in sports in particular, based on the fact that the deadlines happen and then a week or two or three or four later, there's more trades made. It never ceases to amaze me how the deadline doesn't stop deals from happening ever in any sport. So yet another amazing day of worthless news about trades that don't matter, when more trades will definitely be made in the NFL and other sports after the deadline passes, Carver High.
Yes, it is NFL trade deadline day, just about an hour away, 4 o'clock East here. And there have been several moves that have been made, and we'll see if there's any more in the next hour or so, including your Steelers, who are getting very involved. The Steelers, who, of course, first place in the AFC North, right, adding pieces. Wide receiver Mike Williams comes over from the Jets for a fifth-round pick, and they get pass rusher Preston Smith from Green Bay for a seventh-round pick. So the Steelers, Scotty, wide receiver and pass rusher, adding on here as they get ready for the stretch run in the AFC North.
I'm not that impressed, to be honest with you. Mike Williams sucks, and this guy Smith, a seventh-rounder, if he's worth a seventh-rounder, why waste time? I mean, honestly, what seventh-rounder? I mean, that's all he's worth? Is that guy supposed to be some kind of badass? I mean, honestly, I've never heard of him. Williams, everything he's done has been a disaster in the NFL. Am I wrong? I'm not even close to being wrong. I mean, the Jets, I'm surprised they didn't give the Steelers a fifth-rounder to take him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and not a lot for the Steelers. Look, I think they're only going to pick up like $600,000 of the tab on Mike Williams, so it's not that big of an investment for them. And when he's healthy in the past, and at least in LA with the Chargers, he has some ability. So we'll see if that helps the Steeler pass game. The biggest name that has been moved so far today, Saints cornerback Marshawn Lattimore, now a member of Washington. As Lattimore and a fifth go to Washington, a third, a fourth, and a sixth going back in the other direction. Washington also ahead of schedule here. Jaden Daniels, 7-2. Make a move for one of the best corners in the game to help the defense.
Yeah, that's a big deal, and it's a lot of draft picks for him. Shows you how good he is. And look at the rounds that you're talking about here. 3, 4, 5, I think you said.
3, 4, 6, yes. 3, 4, 6.
That's a lot of meat on that bone. He can play, and there's been a lot of players, allegedly, you've been seeing it, that have had interest in playing for the Commanders and what Quinn and Kingsbury are doing there. They're winning. There's a new atmosphere, and they're building a new stadium, aren't they? Like, they're getting rid of the dump, and things are looking up in D.C. with the Commanders.
They certainly are. And, of course, other deals. The Lions get their pass rushers, Darius Smith from Cleveland. The Cowboys traded for Panthers wide receiver Jonathan Mingo. There you go. Fourth-round pick going back to Carolina in that deal. So I don't know what Dallas is doing giving up future assets, but considering Prescott's going on the IR, not going to be around for weeks. But Jerry said they like Mingo. They like him a lot, Scotty. They liked him in the draft process. He's been bunk in Carolina with the Panthers. Bunk.
I don't see it. Like, what is the point of this? Their season's already over. Their quarterback's out for 4 weeks at least. If they put him on IR, which I don't think they've done yet, if he goes on IR, he's out 4 weeks. And that's what they say is happening. So, I mean, they'll be lucky if they go 1-3. To be honest with you, as badly as they've been playing, Mike, they do not look like a team that's going to the postseason. They don't look like, frankly, that they need him.
Jerry said this morning on his weekly radio show in Dallas that he is going on. So he will go on the IR. He's going to miss the Eagle game this week, and he's going to actually miss. I mean, Eagles, Texans, Washington, the Giants on Thanksgiving, they could probably beat without that.
That's the one win right there. That's the one. I can't believe the Steelers lost to them, honestly. I really can't. They had the lead. Right. They lost with 20 seconds left. I couldn't believe it.
I know, to the Cowboys. Last night, week 9 in the books. Chiefs go to 8-0. They beat the Bucks. I know. It just, you know what's amazing to me? And look, Baker, that guy's got stones, man. He really does. Like, Baker can play, goes down, gets the touchdown. Should Bulls have gone for 2 in the win? Probably. It's easy to say now because they never saw the ball again at that point. But isn't it amazing how, like, they always win these coin tosses, too, and just get the ball and go down the field and end the game? The Chiefs live a charmed life. They really do sometimes.
I think the ref slips a fake coin down his, Copperfield, right down his glove, right into his hand, and then flips it, and it's always whatever the Chiefs need, they get. And look, I do think they should have gone for 2 because if you remember with the winning touchdown pass, the guy was wide open. It was the quickest play. Snap, corner, done. When teams really want to get that 2-point conversion, how many times have you seen it that they get it done? When it doesn't matter, they don't succeed. In the middle of the game, first, second, third quarter. Late in games, when you're down 8, how many times have you seen a team convert the 2-point conversion? You'd be stunned at the efficiency level late in games. And you're not going to win that game in Arrowhead in overtime. They never lose. They win the coin toss. They go right down the field and win. And you should have just gone for it. Like a guy with stones would have gone for it. But obviously, Todd Bowles has no onions. Honestly, like, you know you're going to lose when you play this team. And you have your chance to win right then and there. And you just completed a pass so easy. The guy was wide open. And I think he was white, too, which is even worse. Some white guy ran past everybody and scored a touchdown. I mean, honestly, go for it. Win the game. You come down and take, the game right from them and leave with a W. Instead, they've lost 4 or 5. And they play the Niners on Sunday. They're going to lose that game. So their season's over. And it's a nice
sounds
shot,
like
Todd.
The Niners might get McCaffrey back for that game, too, as he has not played all year. And he might be back in the lineup for San Francisco. So lots of football today. Also, the first college football playoff rankings come out tonight. Important for you as both, we all expect, Miami and Indiana will be in the initial, at least, college football playoff rankings that come out tonight. So that's very important. College basketball started last night. Nice effort by Baylor.
Oh, my God. Don't even bring it up what happened to Baylor.
Smashed up there in Spokane last night.
I mean, that wasn't even like, that was stunning how bad they got wiped. I've never seen them lose like that before in a game ever.
Yeah, that's a tough way to open your season. So we'll go through some of the college from last night. Of course, all the NBA from last night as well. Had some good finishes last night. Some last-second shots to win.
Did you see that kid for Baylor dunk on Mark Few's son?
Yes, in the garbage time dunk with the. I saw that. He posterized it.
did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game when it was the worst player screen I've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like this that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
He's on Sports Radio every night at 10. He's on Coast to Coast every day. I just want to get your opinion, not that it matters on politics, but I do want to ask you, as a Canadian, and when you watch this country every day, you see it, you're here all the time, you've lived here a bunch of times. When you watch these people, what do you mean, you people? I mean, these politicians and these... and you know, I'm an outsider. I don't care. I'm not into it. I'm into sports. But watching these people that are willing to kill for this guy, and that they're planning to kill people and blow people up, stab people, rape people, take hostages, set fires, bombs going off. They boarded up all of DC. Philly, the police commissioner said, "Bring it on. We're waiting for you. Let's go. I got some surprises for you. Come down here, stupid, idiot losers." When you watch this country as a Canadian, do you think we're turning into idiots?
Well, you know what's crazy? I'm watching KTLA, and I just saw the chief of police of the LAPD say, "Don't think this is going to get out of hand tonight because we're ready to bring it." The exact same thing. They said, we learned from the Dodgers. They talked about it was fun the other night. They said, but, if you're thinking about, hitting the streets tonight, don't. The Dodger season's over. That's what they basically said. They said it was cool for the Dodgers. Dodger season's over. Now, listen, to me, Scott, I'm not going to get too into it. All I will say is I've always found it fascinating that they will tell you that you're free to do what you want. So imagine if you're thirsty and you only have a blue Pepsi and a red Coke. And they say, but you can get whatever you want. But these are the two drinks. I say, well, what if I want orange juice? No, we don't have orange juice. But you're free to get whatever you want. What if I want a water? Hell, what if I want a Jack Daniels and you know what I mean? What if I want some vodka? No, we got the blue can and the red can. And those are your choices. That's just my quick opinion that there should be more than two choices. All right. That's just, my own personal take, but the system doesn't work that way. So I'll stick to this, Scott, and I can tell you, and you're going to get a kick out of this, that I've got money on 6 states.
He's betting on it.
I got money on Nevada, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina, and Georgia. So I got money on 6 states, and I got some action.
You have Iowa?
I didn't bet Iowa. Well, the thing is, a lot of these election odds, guys, and, across the world, you can bet on this stuff, right? It's probably a good thing you can't in the U.S., even because people, who knows? You know what I mean? You want to talk about, point shaving, right? People will be voting just for their bet. I bet on this. But without being stated, people are betting on it. There's the trader markets. They found a way around it, like the Robinhood site and the stock trading sites. basically have found a way to loophole around it, and they're taking action on this stuff. But with all that being stated, yeah, I got money on 6 states. Dude, did you know, like, around the world and stuff, the U.S. presidential elections, like, bigger than the Super Bowl, it gets so much money. Like, over the last, like, 3-4 elections, it's become a big thing. The Brits have always been big on this, right? They bet on everything, so you can bet on British politics forever. But, so, yeah, I've got money on 6 different states, Scott, so I'm tracking this throughout the day right now.
You're betting on who's going to win states in the U.S. elections, and you're living in Vancouver. That one tops the cake. I mean, that one tops the cake. That one tops this network on. Do you remember in the pandemic, we had guys coming on here, literally no names. We had guys coming on this network every day trying to sell me that they knew something about Korean baseball. Now, I have seen it all. It was a low point in my career hearing guys try to sell me on Korean baseball bets.
You're going to love this one, Scott.
Honestly.
So I posted my picks online the other day, and I said, these are not endorsements. I don't want to talk politics. I don't care who you're voting for. These are simply wagers. I said, I'm just an observer, and I'm just betting as this.
I'm going to come up there and kill you.
Yeah, so he's my Twitter. I knew after. I was like, oh, boy.
The Proud Boys. They'll come kill you.
But
we're going to get that
irony, the irony, the leader of the Proud Boys is actually from Montreal, but that's another story.
All right,
okay, but you're going to love this, Scott. This is the best ultimate parlay. Some dude, a Cal fan, all right? I got a tweet from Cal on Saturday. Said, Morency, I'm trying to put a parlay in, but the book won't let me. The Cal Berkeley, Cal Golden Bear parlay, Kamala to win and Jared Goff MVP, 18-1. I'm thinking,
come on.
I'm thinking, now that's a wild, like that's a story for the ages if you hit that one. Yeah, I bet the presidential election with the MVP and they both went to Cal.
Do you think that Bulls should have gone for 2 last night? I do.
Yeah, I said it live. I was on live during the game, Scott. I said it immediately. I'm not always a go for 2 guy, right? It always depends on the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like who you're playing, where are you? What's how's the game going? But point blank, you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, who are masters of overtime. They changed the rule because of the Kansas City Chiefs in overtime, and they still win all the time, remember? And they said it. They said, you change the rule, we still beat you. Like, have we ever seen the Kansas City Chiefs ever get the ball in overtime and not score a touchdown?
No.
Dude, like, they look better than they did in the game, Scott. It was like 5 plays, tick-tack-toe, tick-tick-tick, touchdown, game over. You knew it was going to happen. You're 2 yards away. You're on the 2-yard line. Your offense was balling. You got nothing to lose. You were playing shorthanded. Scott, just like hell, run a QB sneak, smash it in with the back, run a little fake. I would have went for the win, 1,000,000%. And Troy Aikman thought the same thing, evidently, as I saw after the game.
You know what? I said earlier, they threw the tutty, the white guy's wide open, right off the snap, boom, in the corner. He went right past those brothers and scored. If that happened so easily, and I said that they, in late games, fourth quarter, end of game, you're down 8. How many times do you see the team convert the 2 and get it done and force overtime? Early in the game, first, second, third, you see guys missing 2-point conversions left and right. I don't know why I didn't go for it. You knew they were going to lose the game in overtime. I mean, they've lost 4 or 5 now, and they're playing the Niners.
You're giving the ball to Mahomes.
The season's over.
You're giving the ball to Patrick Mahomes, and you never got the ball again, just point blank.
I know.
Once again, right? So, we got to think about that. Listen, it's Patrick Mahomes. We're not playing against Bo Nix. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, okay, you know what I mean? It's a mirror. Like the Bills came back and tied the Texans and went for the win late. Remember, they were throwing the ball.
Yeah.
That was stupid. It was like, guys, we've been losing by 10. We're lucky we're going to OT here. Just settle down. It's always different.
Right.
about the play they ran at the end of the game when it was the worst flare screen I've ever seen in the history of basketball. No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in the set than I do for this year. Brady, I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
We're doing a double shot as usual with Morency. So I want to go back to the Chiefs for a second. So they've been living on the edge, living on the edge, and they keep winning these games where they are going to overtime or somebody gets them right up against the wall and they can't finish them. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, about the Bills. They're playing them. But, I don't care about November 17th any more than anybody else because all that matters is January. In January, do you think someone, whether it's the Bills, and I know you've said yes, you think it's the Bills, but it never is, and the Ravens and the Steelers, can one of those teams finally beat them? Because I think they're precariously close to losing. They just keep getting lucky, and he doesn't even have stats this year, and they win every game. It makes me sick to my stomach.
It shows how good they are. And I think Buffalo will beat them in 2 weeks. I don't know how many other games they're going to lose on the season. So even if Buffalo beats them, KC will still have home field advantage. Let's be real. It's going to be really hard to beat the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium in a conference championship game, no matter who you are. I would think you got to get them on the road. That's why these games, they're starting to add up. But they're going to start to play better, Scott. They play up or down to the level of their competition, the Chiefs. If they're playing a big-time team, they play well. If they're playing a bad team, they don't cover. This is not new, right? The Kansas City Chiefs are horrible favorites when it comes to betting ATS-wise when they're laying 3.5 or more points. Everybody knows it. And even last night we saw it. This is just the way they operate. But, it's to the point. If they beat the Buffalo Bills, Scott, I don't know if they're going to lose a game this year. You know what I mean? Like they play the Chargers later on. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't think they're lose a game.
And they win it all. Win every game like the 72 Fins.
Oh God, I'm gonna throw up too, bro. I don't want to see this.
You're gonna swallow your own vomit, honestly.
I don't want them to win 3 in a row, let alone run the table and do it. Like that would just be like, like exactly. We feel the same way. It's almost though, isn't it? Remember before it was like anybody but the Patriots. And it was almost like we all, the football world united in the AFC. I remember talking to Dolphin fans and Jet fans. I'm like, I don't care who it is. At this point, somebody knocked Brady off. And even the Super Bowl, bro, he was in 10 of them. It got old. It was like, oh, dude, another. Like, you've covered how many Super Bowls? Like, you probably did
30.
every Brady. Like, so how many times you sat there and you got sick and tired of talking about Tom Brady at the Super Bowl? I don't want to sit there and talk about Patrick Mahomes again at the Super Bowl.
I hated him more than anyone, Brady. Way more than the Chiefs.
Yeah, me too. My anger would be bigger. But I was a Bills fan too.
I'm glad his ex-wife got pregnant within a year after leaving him. I'm glad. It's the best thing that happened to me this year so far. that she got
He's doing
knocked
all
out
right
by her
for himself.
trainer. I mean, honestly, that was just fantastic because nothing bad ever happens to Tom, but knowing that, like, Felipe tagged his wife and had a baby, and now he's got to, like, be a family man with that guy at Thanksgiving is just fantastic. It kind of wipes at least 3 Super Bowls up.
So you have that much disdain for him. You're happy he has personal turmoil in his personal life.
Yes. Yes, I do. Unequivocally. So what about your Raptors? They're covering every week, every game they play?
I tell you what, they played 8 games. They're 2-6 straight up. They blew like a 13, 14-point lead last night. They ended up losing by 1 or whatever. But, yeah, guys, they're 7-1 for betting purposes, guys. The Raptors are 7-1 against the spread, and they're also now 7-1 to the over. So think about that. You bet the Raptors and the over every game, you're 14-2 just with that one team, and I have been. I caught on to this. Dude, the other night against the Lakers, they were down by like 30. They came back, and they lost by 5. Last night, they're up by like 15, 17 or something stupid, and they ended up losing the game. So you know what I mean? But they always end up covering. It always just goes full circle. The other night at home, they were getting 9.5 to the Kings, and they won the game outright. So they're getting too many points. They keep on covering the point spread. Thank God, speaking of terrible stuff, Conference USA is not on TV this week, so you don't have to worry about Kennesaw State and Sam Houston State, Scott. But we got Central Michigan tonight. You got Bowling Green and Central Michigan. I like the over. Yeah, people were talking about bad weather in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. It's not that bad, actually. It'll be fine. Both teams are going to go up and down the field tonight. Give me the over in this football game. Bowling Green's offense is really good. And you look at Bowling Green, guys, like they played Penn State. They played Texas A&M. Like they're better than the record indicate. Bowling Green played a real schedule to start the season. Now they're killing people in the MAC. But I think it's a little high. I'll just go with the over. And in the second game tonight, Miami, Ohio at Ball State. Ball State's defense is terrible, but their offense is pretty good. Give me the Ball State Cardinal plus the points in the over.
Taking the 12.5 with Ball State. All right.
Did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game when it was the worst player screen I've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. Brady, I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Mike DeCourcy, the legendary scribe from the Sporting News, and of course, a college basketball aficionado with Fox Sports and Big Ten Network, and he's on the take for the Indiana Hoosiers. And just won't admit it publicly in football and basketball. Let me ask you this, Mike. Cooper Flagg last night. What a start for him. You know, some people would say that's pedestrian, but really when you break it down, 18, 7, 5, you had 3 steals, something like that. That's pretty heady stuff for a freshman at Cameron Indoor. I don't care who they're playing.
Yeah, well, I wrote about him on Monday and talked to a lot of people who are scouts, experts in the evaluation business. And they said, look, don't expect him to be going for 40 and 50 every night. It's not who he is. It's not to say he can't or won't on occasion if he starts ripping threes and he can get going. On those occasions, he might get up some big points numbers, but it's not who he is. It's about the versatility. And this Duke team needs that versatility because the one position where they're not really covered, where you really aren't sure they're national championship good, is point guard. So last night, he comes out and he has 5 assists. Their nominal point guard had 0 assists. So that tells you he does what is necessary to do to win. And that's what everybody I talked to. I spoke with Sharman White, who's the coach at Pace Academy in Georgia, but he also works with USA Basketball with the under-17 national team. And he had Cooper when Cooper was 15 years old. Cooper came out at 15 and was the best player on the team in 2022 that won the gold medal at the under-17 World Cup. He is a phenomenal player. He's the best prospect in American basketball since Anthony Davis rolled through. And honestly, Scott, we need that. We haven't had the great guys come out of school. In the early part of the 2000s, what did we have? We had LeBron James in 2003. We had Chris Paul. We had Kevin Durant come out. We had Greg Oden, although he got hurt and it didn't work out. But at least we had these great talents coming out. And it's been a while since we had Anthony Davis. We had Zion come out in 2019, but he can't stay healthy. And that's pretty much it. So we need a guy like Cooper Flagg to come in, plant the flag, and go out and have a great career.
So, you know, I think he's an incredible player. And I've seen him at every level. And I just think that, you know, you guys ranked him 3rd in the Sporting News top 25. And like last year, I think you nailed 2 of those 4 in the Final 4. And I think this guy's that good that I think he's going to carry him to the Final 4. I think they're going to play for a national championship.
I think there's a great chance of that, Scott. The people have become of the belief that you have to be old in order to win. No, you have to be good. And there's a lot of old teams that aren't good. And there aren't very many young teams in any case. And so I think that in Duke's case, with the freshmen that they have, that they can make the Final 4. That's where I stop and wonder, though. Like I said, there are certain ingredients that every championship team, going back as long as I've been covering this game, and as you can see, it's a while, and that you have to have certain ingredients. And one of them is a point guard who's really it doesn't necessarily have to be a pro, but he's got to be significant. I mean, you had a DeJuan Harris in 2022. He's still at Kansas. That kind of player can win a national championship. Or you can have a legit pro guy, a first-round NBA pick, which we've had. Let's go back to 2005 for an example with Raymond Felton. You can have that guy, or you can have the DeJuan Harris. But can you have a guy where you're wondering? And that's what I wonder about with Duke. I think they can paper over that for a while with guys like Flagg who can really pass the ball and are really unselfish and so many weapons around them. But when you get to those final couple games, Scott, you got to have it all. And UConn had it all last year, and they were able to win it. They had it enough the year before they were able to win it. But that's where I stopped short with Duke on whether they can win it because of that concern.
You know, I know Danny a little bit, and he's a lot like his dad. You know, I saw his dad coach around here many times, and his dad, you know, I think his dad had the hardest practices I've ever seen in my life from a basketball coach. I've never quite seen anything like it, but his team's never lost. And then I saw Danny's practice. I saw it the other day. I've never actually watched him practice, and I saw him running a practice for about an hour, and he's crazy. I mean, this guy is crazy. He's way more insane than his dad was, and his practices are. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. Like who can survive it? Like not only the players, but the assistants. He screaming at them, like the guys that work for him. He said there's no room for that. It's the ultimate job, and don't plan on sleeping if you work here. It's like a 24/7, 365 job. It's insane. Screaming and yelling and cussing at players, throwing balls around, not at them like Rice did, but throwing them everywhere else, kicking them, smashing them on the floor, cussing, screaming. And the season was like 3 weeks away, and he's already a lunatic. Have you ever seen anything like it?
Oh, I've been in a few practices where guys were on the edge. Absolutely. I've not been in a Bob Knight practice, but I've seen coaches who were hard to play for, but not necessarily hard in practice to play for. But eventually, you can't do that and not be really good with your players. Your players have to believe you care about them. They have to know you care about them. They have to know that you have their best interest at heart if you're going to push that hard. And you also have to know who you can push and how you can push them. And Dan clearly does, because you don't win 2 titles in a row not knowing which guys can take being hammered verbally and which guys can't, don't feel good about it. There are certain players that just, if you're really hard on them, it causes them to lose confidence, and you don't want that. So he knows how to measure each guy, how it works. That's why he's had so much success over the years, going all the way back to his time at Wagner and on the way up through Rhode Island, and now 2 national championships at UConn. He's a tremendous coach, and you have to be one of the players who wants to play for a coach like that. Guys, you have to want to play for Izzo. You had to want to play for Huggins back in the day, or Knight back in the day. And some guys got in there, as you know, back way before the transfer portal with Bob Knight, and said, you know what, this isn't for me. We know a lot of players who got in there and said that. But not very many guys are leaving UConn. They feel like he cares about them. And whatever you saw, apparently it's not so much that it pushes the buttons that says remember, he's coaching in an age when anybody can leave at any time and begin playing not long after that. And they're still sticking around.
Honestly, I think he's great. And I don't think they're winning it again. I don't. But his practices reminded me a lot of Bob Knight. The difference is that I don't see him grabbing players. Knight used to grab players and shove them around and move them to the right place. And that turned into he was choking people, and he was crazy and all the rest. I never saw him hurt anyone. I saw him cuss people out and scream and shove them and push them to where their feet needed to be and their shoulders and their body in the right position. Real quick, Alabama and Houston, will they live up to the billing of the Sporting News?
Well, Alabama is our number 1 team, and I think they have all the ingredients. I talked about those before. Having all the talent you need, the size you need, the rim protection. The point guard is probably my biggest question about Alabama too, although I'm not as concerned there as I am with Duke. I like Houston. I think Kelvin's done a great job. He's built a really good perimeter offense. They too have point guard issues.
The results are in. It turns out Mike DeCourcy has won the state of Pennsylvania over Kamala and Donald in a surprising development late this afternoon.
the end of the game when it was the worst flare screen I've ever seen in the history of basketball. No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in the set than I do for this year. Brady, I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
So you were just talking about White going to the Ravens. What's the deal with that? You just said he's like cripple.
I mean, look, he obviously had two major injuries in Buffalo, which is why he's not there anymore. And they let him go at the end of last season. He signed on with the Rams. He really hasn't done much in L.A., which is why L.A.'s willing to send him out the door. Goes to Baltimore for a 7th-round pick. So Tre'Davious White with the Ravens now, who are looking for some corner help. There was a story that they were in on Lattimore. Didn't have as many pieces, obviously, as Washington to be able to go and get that deal done. But that's a significant difference, Marshawn Lattimore and Tre'Davious White, with where White is right now in his career. As he's just had a real hard time getting readjusted to that. There has not been anything else since we talked at the top, really, besides the Tre'Davious White trade. Lattimore, William Smith, Mingo, I told you. Khalil Herbert went to the Bengals from the Bears for a 7th rounder. That's because the Bengals put Zach Moss on IR today. So he will miss the next 4 weeks at a minimum for Cincinnati, who are getting ready for Thursday night. But we've got about 15 minutes left here. I don't think we'll see anything earth-shattering in the next 15 minutes. I think that Lattimore is probably the biggest deal you're going to get today, Scotty.
I mean, I guess it is already the biggest deal, but the question is, well, I think they're going to win that division. I really do. But I think Philly's going to be in it till the last week. I think they could still win that division, the Eagles. I mean, all it takes is a couple of bad Sundays and you lose it.
Well, look, and they still got to play each other twice. You know, the Eagles and Washington haven't seen each other yet this year. I believe they play in a couple weeks on Thursday night for the first time. So, look, that's a big spot for Washington. You know, Washington's played well this year, but they're now going to start to hit a portion of their schedule. Steelers this week, couple games with the Eagles. You know, now we're going to really see if they're for real or not. You know, they're not playing the Giants and the Bears and these other teams anymore. They're going to be stepping it up. And we'll see if they're in for any of that. All right, if any deals happen, I'll let you know here over the next 14, 15 minutes before the trade line goes through. We did have Monday Night Football last night in Kansas City to finish off week number 9. 30-24, Chiefs beat the Bucs in overtime. Bucs, of course, got the tying score in the final minute. Baker, I thought, played excellent last night, but unfortunately, Chiefs win the coin toss. Chiefs get the ball. They go on this long, methodical drive, which, of course, ends with Kareem Hunt getting into the end zone on Westwood One Sports.
Oh, God.
3rd down and the length of a football. Mahomes will break huddle. Hunt in the backfield. Offset eye with Carson Steele. 3 tight ends. Touchdown wins it. Mahomes under center. Gets the snap. Spins. Hunt. Got the block. Running over the right guard. Touchdown Chiefs. They win it in overtime. 30-24. And they go to 8-0.
So I guess they're the last team that's won 14 straight since Carolina did it in 2014. They've won 8 straight games where they trailed in the second half. I mean, they just never lose. It's just beyond me. The guy, didn't he hurt his ankle? And then, of course, he's Superman. He came right back in, and he's still, nothing ever happens to them. It's amazing.
Never.
To me. And then Hopkins now looks like he's 22 years old again with this quarterback. He's going to catch so many touchdown passes the rest of the way. It's not even funny.
Yeah, obviously, he came up lame on the one touchdown pass with the ankle. That he's done this a lot now. I'm not saying he doesn't. He loves the theatrics. I'm sure he's hurt, but I'm sometimes, when they're carrying him off the field, 95% of the time that guy's done, like either for the season or for weeks or anything like that. He's magically always back on the field like the next play. Remember the Jacksonville playoff game a couple years ago? They drag him off the field. He comes back in and wins. He's always right back out there. Never, listen, we don't want to see anybody get hurt, but, I mean, it is amazing how he always avoids the catastrophic injury when he's out. But he sure makes it seem like he's got the catastrophic injury when they drag him off the field every single time. I'll say this. You and Gabe talked about this a little. They're 8-0. They're the Chiefs. They're going for 3 in a row. They're the best of the best of the best of the best, blah, 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 blah. And you're right about this. 2 weeks from now, that don't matter to me. The Bills have beaten the Chiefs in the regular season the last couple of years. They've gone to Arrowhead in October and in November, and they've beaten them. They don't beat them in January. They need to beat them in January for it to matter. But this Chief team is living on the edge every week, right? Like every week, it seems like they're ripe to start losing a few games, and sure, it's a sign of a great team, of a champion. They find a way to do it, but if they're still doing this in January, one of these teams can get him. Whether that's Baltimore, the Bills, Pittsburgh, one of them will get him if they play like this. In January. I think they could be had this year. I'm probably stupid for saying it, and I'll get burned, but they could be had this year.
I don't believe that you'll get burned. I think they're going down. You cannot, in my view, and I don't know anything, but you cannot just keep winning every single close game and every single overtime game, and you just never have anything go wrong ever. It is going to be a crash landing when they finally lose. And you know what happens in the NFL? Everyone eventually loses. It always ends with a thud. I mean, look at the Patriots now after Brady. They've been a lobotomy. Look at every great team. The Steelers won 4 in 6 years, thud. The Niners, the Cowboys, thud. Look at the Niners now. They play in every Super Bowl. They lose every Super Bowl. They used to win every Super Bowl. This team's going to get beat. Everyone thought it was going to be in Baltimore. I bet on Baltimore or Kansas City that day in Baltimore because they don't lose games. But I think this team eventually is going to have a thud. I think they're going to finally lose a close game, and that'll be the end of them. And I don't know who it is. Look, I said this before, like Buffalo, it's never Buffalo. They never get it done. I think it's Pittsburgh or Baltimore.
Did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game when it was the worst flare screen I've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in the set than I do for this year. Brady, I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Yeah, I'm sick and tired of them. I can't wait. I beg that it's in the playoffs. I don't even care about these regular season games at all, that they win every game. In fact, I hope they win every single game like the Patriots did and then lose. They went 18-1. The Giants beat them. I hope they lose like no one else. I hope it's just a massive car crash. I hope for the worst. I hope on the winning drive, they get to the 1 yard line on 4 plays, they get stopped. And then he is mauled on a 4th down and thrown like a rag doll on the ground and has a concussion. And I mean it. I'm sick and tired of him and blowing kisses to his wife and talking to his kids on TV and never has anything wrong happen. I'm sick of it. He's like Brady. Can't stand either one of them. Hate me all you want. I don't care. I am not a Chiefs fan. I'm a Steeler fan, and you're a Bill fan, and everybody else can have a sandwich. I want them to have a car crash ending. Just a horrific loss like that they talk about. Not only that, I think the games are fixed. I really do. And I'll never change my opinion of it. You cannot sit here with a straight face and tell me that how these games, one team's up by 25 points in the first half, and then in the fourth quarter they lose. And then, every game's 3 and a hook, 2 and a hook, 1. I mean, it's just, you can't bet the NFL. You're going to lose your money. It's automatic.
It's automatic. And in your scenario, where the Chiefs get blown up on 4th down, they'd probably throw a flag on the other team. That would negate it. So there'd probably be a flag. Automatic first down. And then Carson Wentz will come in for him and throw the touchdown on that play. If Mahomes will actually be hurt, and it'll be Carson Wentz because everything they do touches the gold there. Here's Bowles. This is because I don't want to hear from Mahomes on his injury. I don't care about this guy. Again, there was nothing wrong with him. He's fine. Bowles not going for 2 at the end of regulation really cost the Bucs.
Very minor. We wanted to get it to overtime with the wet conditions on the field. We felt like we had to go into overtime instead of go for 2. So we had our shots. We lost the game.
I don't know, in the past you mentioned you have communications upstairs about decisions, analytically, things of that nature. Did they advise you not to go for 2? What was...
No, we went for 1. We took our shots. We had our chances all game. We just lost the game. It didn't come down to that.
No, it didn't come down to that.
Yeah, it did.
It kind of did. You had a chance to
come down to that.
Beat him.
They lost.
Never saw the ball again. Never saw the ball again. Never saw the ball again. That was it. They won the toss.
Blame the media.
And they went down the field, and they won. And you never saw the ball. So I thought Baker played great in the game for them. I thought Baker was outstanding. Just unlucky. And with none of his big-time weapons either. For him to do that. They're ripe, like you said, and hopefully it's January.
So did the over. That's all that matters.
The over was a big winner last night, that's for sure. And Otten got in. We had an Otten touchdown.
And so didn't you have Hop?
And D-Hop as well. Yes, I said D-Hop first, then I said play him right.
And Palmer got down to the one. So. He was almost in.
Oh, I needed that. Palmer gets in there.
And then the other guy, Worthy, backed into the end zone. He was out of bounds at the one.
Nice catch by him on that play. Real nice catch.
I told you had all four. You had all four. They all should have happened.
They all should have happened. Unfortunately, they did not. But that's how it goes sometimes, indeed. All right. NFL favorites.
When the games are fixed.
When the games are fixed. Look at this. NFL favorites the last 5 weeks. Check this out. 46-27-1 against the spread. Man, that's good. 63% favorites. And that was after, dogs. Remember we were doing all the dogs. We're covering those huge numbers the first 4 weeks. Things have turned around now here the last 5.
I mean, if you're hitting 63% of your bets in the NFL, who needs a job?
Don't need a job in that scenario. No, you don't need a job. I got more NFL for you later next hour.
Oh my God! Honestly, I can't even take it anymore. These NFL games, honestly.
He will be 2-7 against top 5 opponents in his 6 full seasons with the Buckeyes.
Now you're going to take on the road, one of the best rush defenses in the country in Penn State. You're already having trouble rushing the ball. So what does that mean, Ben? That means Ohio State is going to have to rely on Will Howard to throw the ball on the road.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly.